and the way it works. You're getting a better awareness of yourself. You are a spiritual being experiencing a physical reality, but you also, by law, must experience the ideas you came into. We're going to go through these 7 layers of awareness. As we come in through the animalistic state. In this animalistic state, we begin to react, fight or flight. Then we start to take in all the information from our environment. We do the same thing. We do the same thing that we could do, and it was just begin to pick up what the masses do. Why? Because as a little baby, your mind is wide open. You have no ability to reject. You just accept. If you'd have been born in China, into a Chinese family, you would say, I'm Chinese. But that's not who you are. That's what they thought they were, and this happened to them. And this goes on for centuries. We just keep retraining the people around us to act and behave as we do. And little do we know that the people before us did the same thing. And the same thing before them, and the same thing before them, and the same thing before them. But the truth is, you are a spiritual being experiencing a physical reality. But if you think you're your name, that's the way it's going to be. If you think that you're the race or the color they gave you, you think that's the way it is. And whatever it is they told you about that race or color, which is not true. Everything is ideas. And if you accept every idea you're given as truth, that's the way it's going to be. You see, whatever age you are today is just the level of experience you've had through the teachings you've been taught, whatever that is. If you'd have been born in Germany in the year 1400, you'd have a completely different reality. If you'd have been born in the Soviet Union 70 years ago, you'd have a different reality. And you would have taken on all that nature, all that understanding, and begin to act and think from there. If you'd have been born in Africa, you would have taken on that nature and that way of thinking, whatever it is, whatever family you would have been born into. You see, as we move in, our spiritual energy moves in, and it begins to open its eyes, begins to observe, and it begins to download all the information around it. If you'd have been born in Peru, same thing. You'd call yourself Peruvian. You see, as we move in, we do the only thing we can do. We begin to accept everything as truth. And we begin to what? Think like them, act like them, behave like them, talk like them, move around with those ideas. There's no good or bad, everything just is. But we do begin in that stage of awareness. Animalistic, begin to learn from the masses, follow the masses. We begin to aspire, work towards individualizing ourselves. But it's rare that you find somebody go beyond individualization into discipline, experience, and mastery. We normally take the information we have and we extend ourselves. That means we extend our consciousness. We extend the ideas we learned, and we begin to work towards individualizing ourselves. And we take the information that we have and we aspire with the information we came into. We take all this information and we think. That's the clue. That's the key. Every time you come out of yourself, that means you come out of consciousness and you open your eyes. You're actually using all that reasoning factor, and you're actually grouping all those ideas to think. There's no wonder so many people are stuck. Because you're taking the data from where you came into, and you're observing the world from that state. And you're saying, I want to aspire And I want to individualize myself beyond what I know. And as you go out into the world, you try to extend that knowledge. You try to extend that information. At some point, you get to the point you've gone as far as you know. Some of you may have already gone through the process of going through school. Some of you already gone through the process of maybe going to college. Some of you may be even gone through the process of completing college, and you've been doing a job for so many X amount of years. What you've learned is that at some point, you will get to the point where you've gone as far as what you know. You've gone as far as what you are capable or willing to stretch. Why? Because as you come out of consciousness, you give all you can. You aspire to all you can. And the truth is, nobody has stopped you but you, the information that you're coming from. All the beliefs, all the doubts, all the fears, all the worries, all the desires, all locked up into you. But nobody ever taught you the psychology of the mind, consciousness, the way it works. And if you don't understand it, you'll be lost. Every millisecond, you're coming out of consciousness, but you're coming out of the originating form you came into, and that thinks. Take a look at this video.
Bill Allen. He's a lot of Bill's. First name I forgot is Lynn. And he said, I've got a young health friend here of mine, would like to get on the fire department. I hear you're hiring.
Bob's talking about a story to mastery.
Put your application in. Like that. I was on the fire department. Now, you had to weigh 165 pounds. I weighed 135. I had never weighed over 135 pounds in my life. You had to have at least a high school education. I didn't have 2 months. I had 2 months high school education. 2 months. I had absolutely nothing going for me except Magistrate Lynn. And apparently that's all I needed. And I'm going to the township office for my medical. And there's an old doctor there. He had the glasses sitting on the end of his nose. He's going over there and weigh yourself, son, stand on those. He says, what does it say? And I said, 165. He said, well, he looked at me. He said, well, we'll leave it at that then. He knew I didn't weigh 165. Now, I was there for 5 years. And the first part of it, I absolutely loved it. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. You see, I went from earning $1 an hour to earning $5,000 or $4,000 a year. It was a big jump. I went from working 7 days a week and sometimes 7, once a month 7, and then the other time 6 days a week. Changing tires. It was hard work. In the winter, it was very hard. I went to work in 7 days and 7 nights a month. And at night, when we were on nights, we could go to bed. We could make our bed and go to bed. And oddly enough, there was very few fires in East York. You very rarely get called out of bed. Periodically, but not very often. I was there for 5 years, and then I started to read this book. Everybody there was content to sit there and watch the television set, play cards, play darts. Just put in their shift and leave. Go to the union or something and shoot pool in the days off, or go play golf. I got into this. Everything in my life changed. I started to set goals. I started to know that you should rate a goal on a card, and everything started to change. And I quit. I quit the fire department after 5 years to go and clean offices. And I remember the chief called me into his office. He said, what are you going to do, Bob? And I said, I'm going to clean offices. He said, Bob, you know, when you leave, you can't come back. And I said, I know. I was as scared as a person could get, but the desire was there. I was thinking and planning. I was taking the mastery. I was mastering my own life. I was thinking of where I wanted to go. And I didn't see myself just cleaning offices. I see myself with a business that was operating all over the place. Everybody thought I was right out of my mind. Almost everybody I knew would tell me, Bob, you're crazy. Don't give up that good job. Remember what you were doing. You were changing tires and changing oil in cars. You were knocking the skin off your knuckles 9 times out of 10. But I had a goal. I had a mentor. And I had a plan. I had an organized plan. I had organized information, and it was being intelligently directed. This is one of the rules from Napoleon Hill. And I left. Now, this deal is strictly between you and yourself. No one else is involved. This is it. There isn't anyone else. You got to stick to it. Now look.
There isn't anyone else. There isn't anyone else. You're the only one that can change you. And if you're not willing to change you go back to what you are. You go back to what you know. Now, I watch people work towards knowing more, doing more, and they go back a little, forward a little, back again, forward a little. And I've watched people struggle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, 90 years. I've watched it. 100. What's going back and forth? Conscious, subconscious. Do it, don't do it. Can it be done? Can it not be done? Fight or flight. They didn't have the proper tools or the proper guidance, the proper material, the proper mentorship. This is a story between you and you. And if you're not working on you, you're never going to change.
And mastery. And you start down here, the animalistic state. As a baby, you react to almost everything. And if you study, you'll get to a point where you respond to almost everything. You don't react. You see, when we react, it's fight or flight. When we respond, it's think and plan. At any rate, we start out here in an animalistic state. I mean, we're just little babies. We know nothing. And then we get to a certain point, and they say, go on and be like the rest of the kids. And you begin following the masses. It never enters our mind that we're all building the same paradigm.
We're all building the same paradigm.
It's sad, but it's the way it is. And you're playing with the other kids, and you're probably dressed like the other kids, and you're doing what the other kids do. But one day, something happens inside of you, and you desire something greater. I was talking to a person this morning about one of their children. Strong person. The child is. This young person has a strong desire for something greater than what she's doing. And you say, why? What's happening? They want to express their uniqueness as a human being. Blow that up, please. When the person has this aspiration to do something greater, they're looking to express their uniqueness as a human being. This is a bit of a battle then that's going on inside. You see, the desire wants to take them here, but they got locked into a paradigm with a bunch of other ones, and they don't want them to leave. The other kids want you to stay here. They don't want you to leave, but the desire is great, and it's taking you up here, but the paradigm's pulling you back here. Make no mistake about it. This is a battle that's going on. It's a battle that's going on in every person's life. Some people never break out of it. Now look at. At some point, that desire is so great, and they hear that if they just had some discipline, they could go and do what they really wanted to do. And they start out, the paradigm's pulling them back. And the discipline starts to fade. And they realize that the dream they had of living the life they want was just a wish. And they find they're stuck. They're not sure if they should go ahead or go back. Now, when you're stuck, it's the same place, the same thing again and again. That is not a good place to be. If the discipline is strong enough, you break out. Now look here. There's the conscious mind, the subconscious. In the conscious mind, you have a dream. And you start to get emotionally involved in that dream. You want to plant it in your heart of hearts. It's very strong. But you see, right from the moment of conception, there was other ideas being planted. It was being planted through just the other person's DNA coming in. And the paradigm is strong. The dream is small. But if the desire is strong enough, now look here, that dream will grow. As it grows, the paradigm will die. Whenever you see a person where the dream is growing, the paradigm is dying, for goodness sake, help them. Stay with them. Let them know they're on the right track. The deal is overpower the paradigm, and you get that the dream then controls your life. You've created your own paradigm. My goodness, this is the ideal dream of the human creature. It's the soul of the individual. You see, you are a soul. You don't have one, you are one. And the soul's forever seeking its awareness of its oneness with that which is. They may not know where they're going, but they're living the dream.
So here we're coming to consciousness, and how consciousness is the one that's driving you. It's a driving force, causing you to always want to go beyond what you know. Because that consciousness is the originating consciousness that moved into that body, that moved into that family, that moved into that generation, that moved into that lifetime. Consciousness is pure light. And it knows it's more, it knows it's perfect, and it has more ideas all the time because it wants to go beyond what it was programmed to do. It's aware. Normally, you're not aware. We have different levels of consciousness, of awareness. And the average individual is staying between the consciousness of the paradigms that they were brought into. So that awareness the average individual stays within the consciousness of the masses and the aspiration and individualization. But it's normally that somebody's awareness goes beyond how they were programmed, their aspirations, and their individuality that's already been created for them. They normally don't find their uniqueness with creation. They keep finding what they know. See, we don't have problems, we have programming. And what people keep finding is what they know. The truth is, what they don't know would change them. People don't know. What they don't know would change them, would change their whole life. We're at our time. We're doing this every week. We give you guys on our platforms, Tuesday, Facebook platforms, we're giving you guys information to help change you. But nothing's going to change if you give it off of here and you just go back to what you know. Nothing's going to change. It'll be the same week, same place, doing the same thing. You got to bet on you. You got to invest in yourself, and you got to get into the classes. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful